Welcome back to Hannah's Harvest. Today I was inspired by the beautiful blooms in my garden, and I wanted to talk about why I grow flowers with my vegetables. Well, growing flowers with vegetables has several different benefits. And the first, and maybe the most obvious, is that it's amazing for pollinators. In order to have great pollination with your vegetable crops and fruits, you need to be drawing in a lot of pollinators. If you have bright colored flowers and sweet pollen and nectar for them to feast on, there's a better chance that your vegetables and fruit will be pollinated. Another awesome benefit of flowers in the vegetable garden is that some flowers actually help repel pests. Things like marigolds can help deter pests from landing on your vegetables, and other flowers like nasturtiums can actually be a trap crop. Aphids love nasturtiums, so I like to plant them so that my aphids will be drawn to the nasturtiums instead of eating on the fruits and vegetables that I'm growing. My favorite reason to grow flowers in my vegetable garden is how much we enjoy the color. They're beautiful and they bring so much life to the garden. It's really important to me that my garden is diverse and that it has a unique ecosystem. And adding in flowers, diversely planting, making sure there's lots of variety helps me achieve my goals as a gardener. Today I want to share my top 4 flowers that I like to grow alongside my vegetables. I hope that you're inspired to add some flowers to your garden as well. First up, we have sunflowers. Sunflowers make a great companion to the summer vegetable garden. They're easy to start from seed, come in all different shapes, colors, and sizes, and pollinators and birds love them. You can grow sunflowers using cut flower arrangements, leave the seeds on for the birds to eat, or harvest the seeds for your own consumption. Sunflowers add so much joy to the vegetable garden. Now that I know how easy they are to grow, I'll be growing them every year. This year, I direct seeded my sunflower seeds after the last frost. In just a few months, I had beautiful blooms. Another benefit of sunflowers is that they're super easy to save seeds from. So when you grow them once, you can harvest the seeds to plant next year. It's a win-win. I've noticed that all kinds of pollinators are feeding on my sunflowers, from tiny ones like ants and flies and little bitty wasps, to bees of all shapes and sizes, and butterflies. It's really neat to have a flower that services so many pollinators. Next, we have zinnias. Zinnias make an amazing cut flower because of their bright color and long vase life. I love planting them in my vegetable garden because of the pollinators they attract. Zinnias draw butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees, and I love that they come in all different sizes, shapes, and colors. This year, I'm especially loving the giant cactus mix. I tuck zinnias around the edges of my beds. They grow anywhere between 12 inches and 3 feet tall, but are narrow enough to stick in any open spaces that I have. Zinnias are a cut and come again flower. This means that they'll continue to produce blooms if you cut off the old blooms. They can bloom from early spring until late fall. Their color varieties make them a great asset to the garden, and I love how much the pollinators love them. Marigolds are up next. I find that marigolds are a flower that people either love or hate, and I love them. My mom let me grow marigolds in her garden when I was a little girl, and I've always loved them since. They have a special place in my heart. Marigolds are a multi-purpose garden flower. Their aroma is said to deter some garden pests, and they make a great companion plant because they're perfect for tucking into tight spots. Marigolds are a vigorous grower, and I usually direct sow them a few weeks before the last frost. Believe it or not, they can handle a light frost, and they flourish all season long. Like zinnias, they continue to produce more blooms if you cut off the old ones. They're really easy to save seeds from, and I find that the smaller pollinators really enjoy them. Last but not least, we have basil. Before this year, I only grew basil as an herb for the leaves. I cut my basil back so that it wouldn't bloom because I learned that blooming affects the flavor of the leaves, and I wanted to use them in culinary applications. This year, I grew some new varieties of basil and found that the blooms are amazing. You can actually use basil blooms as a filler for cut flower arrangements. They smell amazing and the pollinators love them. They're especially good for small pollinators like native bees and tiny wasps. If you're growing basil, I highly encourage you to let 1 or 2 plants flower. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll be inspired to add some flowers to your garden.